we know we've got one more member coming, but we're going to go ahead and get started. We welcome you to the LPUA meeting. We, as your representatives in the LPUA, welcome your involvement and encourage your participation. This meeting is a public hearing. If you wish to address the LPUA on any item on the agenda, please fill out a blue request to address the LPUA form, which you can find in the foyer on the way in. We ask that it be filled out completely and turned in to Ms. Veronica Williams, seated to my left, and that it be filled out completely if you wish to address the LPUA. If it's not filled out completely, you will not be given an opportunity to speak. If you have materials you wish to submit to us, I would ask that you give those to Ms. Williams as well. In an effort to allow everyone an opportunity to be heard, the 5-minute rule is in effect. Speakers shall refrain from debating personal attacks and from making confrontational or derogatory comments. The press isn't here, so I'm not going to reserve any seats for them. Meeting procedures are by resolution and not by Robert's Rules of Order. I have no specific announcements tonight. Gentlemen, none. Mr. Stanley or Mr. Durrell, do we have any announcements from the administration? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move right on. We have 4 items for introduction.
Mr. Chairman?
Excuse me. Yes, sir.
I would move that these introductory ordinances be taken in global, please.
I've got a motion and a second to take them in globo. Shall we vote on that, please? I'm going to call the roll to take it in globo.
You're going to read them first?
Yeah.
Jeremy will read them first.
Okay.
Ordinance 10, 2015, LPUA. An ordinance of the Lafayette Public Utilities Authority enacting Section 94-57 of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government Code of Ordinances, providing for the authority of the Director of Utilities to execute betterment agreements for the provision of and connection to water, sewer, electric, and telecommunications facilities owned or operated by the Utilities Department, and providing for the authority of the Director of Utilities to establish capital recovery fees. Ordinance 11, 2015, LPUA, an ordinance of the Lafayette Public Utilities Authority authorizing and directing the Lafayette City Parish President to execute the capacity confirmation between NRG Power Marketing LLC and Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government. Ordinance 12, 2015, LPUA, an ordinance of the Lafayette Public Utilities Authority declaring the construction of the Kali Saloom Road Lift Station and Force Main Installation Project a public necessity and authorizing the acquisition of the necessary land, servitudes, easements, rights-of-way, and other property right requisite to the construction of said project either on an amicable basis or through the use of the expropriation process if necessary. Ordinance 13, 2015, LPUA, an ordinance of the Lafayette Public Utilities Authority providing for the abandonment of a portion of the utility niches and the access and drainage easements on lots 131 and 132 in Phase 3A of Old Town at Mill Creek, having municipal addresses of 119 Bungalow Court and 117 Bungalow Court, respectively.
Okay, do we have any comments at all from
Yes, sir. We have one speaker who signed in to speak on intro item number 4, the betterment agreement, Bruce Conk. Oh, he did not wish to speak. He's just in support of number 4.
Okay, thank you. No other blue cards?
No, sir.
All right. What I don't understand is why are we not taking the vote for Globo first before they're read? I thought that was what we did.
Well, the council could do it one of either ways. What typically has happened is if there's no objection to taking the matters in globo, then you simply take them in globo. But a separate vote on whether to take them in globo is permissible. But typically, unless there's an objection to taking them in globo, then you simply just do it without the requisite vote. I think that falls under the council's general operating resolution, where the chairman controls the meeting. But I mean, if someone wants to object to a procedural ruling of the chairman, then the council could have could have a vote on the matter.
Yeah, and that's how I've understood it. I mean, in the past, once we've had a motion and a second to go into global, if there's no opposition indicated, we simply allow our,
Okay, I just recall
legislative
voting
ent-
on it
Yeah.
as a council, that's why. Okay, very good.
38 years ago.
I must have been looking at it from this eye.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. All right, well, if that's the case then, unless there's any other discussion, this meeting is adjourned.
Wait, sorry, misunderstood.
Well, let's vote.
Misunderstood.
See, there we go.
I thought you were asking the question about whether or not there needed to be first a vote on whether to take the matters in globo, and
Okay,
that was the.
let's have the vote. Thank you.
Now it's the vote on the actual introduction.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 6? Yes. District 7?
Yes,
District 8?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
thank you. Now the meeting is adjourned. Thank you. There you go.
I haven't heard much. I don't know if maybe that's what canceled.
All eyes on you.
I haven't heard anything.
I understand I picked up some votes in District 4 last.
Oh, man, they tell me you was. In the dark. They sent me the letter. It's dark, you know, it's dark in there. For the credits they've obtained in back.
So they decided actually Maxie got it. Daddy left that part.
You know, but he's.
Oh, well, we'll do it next time.
call the meeting order. I'm asking Councilman Kevin Nakane to lead us in prayer. Councilman William Terry, to lead us in the pledge, please.
All right. Dear Father, thank you for creating this opportunity to conduct business. Let our hearts be humble, unselfish, and in good faith. May you bless our thoughts and words that are in us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, gentlemen. We welcome you to the Lafayette City Parish Council meeting. We, as your representatives in the Lafayette Consolidated Government, welcome your involvement and encourage your participation. This meeting is a public hearing. If you wish to address the council on any item on this agenda, please fill out a blue request to address the council form, noting the agenda item number. The blue form is available to you in the foyer and should be submitted to the council clerk, Ms. Veronica Williams, seated to my left in the middle prior to the call of the agenda item. It is important to fill out the blue form completely and note the specific agenda item number about which you wish to speak. If the card is not completely filled out or is not legible to the clerk, you will not be given the opportunity to speak. If you have materials you wish to submit to the council, please give those to Mrs. Williams along with your blue form. In an effort to allow everyone an opportunity to be heard, the 5-minute rule will be in effect. Speakers shall refrain from debating, personal attacks, and from making confrontational or derogatory comments. I am requesting that the first row to my left be used for media only. Lastly, food and drinks are not allowed in the auditorium, and all phones and electronic devices shall be silenced from this point forward. I am also requesting that anyone who approaches the council state their name and title for the official record. Meeting procedures are by resolution and not by Robert's Rules of Order. Documents including agendas, ordinances, resolutions, and minutes related to this and other meetings are posted online at www.lafayettela.gov or refer to the web address on the top of the agenda. The council encourages your involvement and participation by volunteering for boards and commissions. If you are interested in finding out which board suits your interests, call 291-8800 or pick up a pamphlet at the door. I do have some chair announcements. First, Councilman Bellard will be unable to attend tonight's meeting due to previously scheduled business. Item number 7, that's 0-103-2015, regarding the public health millage, has a proposed amendment to change the $3 million towards a new animal control facility to $500,000 towards architecture and engineering costs for a new animal control facility. Also, item number 10, 0-123-2015, regarding Porter Lane annexation, has been requested by PZD to be deferred until the July 7th council meeting to allow the assessor time to complete the certificate. Also, a special meeting has been called to follow the regular meeting to consider a resolution with reference to state legislation on annexations. I would like to wish Phyllis Walters, Council Administrative Secretary, a happy birthday, which she celebrates on June the 18th. Happy birthday, Phyllis. Those are the only announcements that I have at this time. I will now open the floor for any council announcements. Seeing none at this time, we will go to Mr. Durrell for the Executive President's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have nothing to report.
Thank you. Now we will move to comments from the public. Comments from the public on any matters that are not on the agenda. We do have blue cards. This portion of our meeting is the opportunity to make your voice heard before the council, the administration, and the public. This is the time to speak about topics that are not included as agenda items. As I noted earlier, requests to make comments specific to an agenda item should be made prior to the call for that agenda item by completing a blue request to address council form for each agenda item you wish to address with the agenda item number noted on the blue form. Please, we request that all matters regarding specific city parish employees be directed to the administration and that it not be addressed at this public forum. We as a council have a concern for the privacy and protection of government employees. With that said, however, if your concern is not resolved in either an expeditious or satisfactory fashion, there are other avenues which can be pursued, and we ask that you follow up with the council office. Also, confrontational statements and or threats will not be tolerated. We ask that you conduct yourselves in a civil manner and with the same courtesy that you would expect of others. The 5-minute rule will be in effect. Ms. Veronica, first speaker, please.
First speaker is Ray Green, and he did provide you with a handout.
And as you approach the podium to speak, any one of these podiums can be used on either side of the room. You don't have to go to that one only. Okay?
Which one's the luckiest?
This one right here.
Okay. Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Ray Green. I live in District 6. Gentlemen, I'm here tonight to ask 2 questions. Before I do, let me preface it with a couple of remarks. I'm speaking for approximately 25 to 30% of the population in Lafayette and Lafayette Parish. As you know, we have some 231,000 residents in the parish, approximately 125,000 in the city. So we're speaking for thousands of people tonight. Personally, I'm a little tired of going to restaurants, meeting rooms, waiting rooms, and having to be embarrassed, humiliated, and disgusted because of the lack of consideration, concern, and assistance in most of these places. I've discussed this before, and you even passed a resolution supporting our efforts regarding chairs with arms for seniors, handicapped, and disabled veterans. Unfortunately, the restaurants, the waiting rooms, and the meeting places did not hear you or me. I've asked this question to a couple of members, one of the council members and a high administration person, and have not gotten a definite response. So I'm asking you here tonight. Here's the question. Do you have the power to pass an ordinance eliminating smoking in Lafayette bars, which you have not chosen to do? Do you also have the power to pass an ordinance requiring restaurants, waiting rooms, and meeting places to provide 5% of their seating capacity with chairs to accommodate we seniors, handicapped, and disabled veterans? I know the answer to that. I realize, so I'm going to give you a minute to think about it. I know the reason that you basically gave to reject the smoking mark. If you don't want to go to a bar, you don't go. I can understand that. So you make resolutions, rules, and ordinances concerning practically everything else. What's the problem with this? I get invited to speak at some organization or some group. I get invited to eat at restaurants with people. 95% of these places do not have chairs with arms so that I can maintain a little dignity, and I have to have somebody to help me get up. It's very embarrassing. Now, I can skip a restaurant if I don't want to go there. Evidently, they don't want our business, so we won't go, like 25 to 30% of the other people in the city. What do I tell the doctor when I have to go and they send me to the waiting room and there's nothing in there but 2 blank chairs and I have to have a nurse and a doctor to help me get out of the darn chair? What do I do when I go to a group or organization? For example, the Beavers Club, held in a very prestigious place. There's no chairs up there for people like me. Here's the second question. Do you have the power to pass an ordinance requiring restaurants, waiting rooms and meeting rooms to have at least 5% of the seating capacity with chairs for the seniors, for the handicapped and disabled veterans. I could understand if we were asking for 100%, but we're not. We're only asking for 5%. So we're asking, do you have the power to pass an ordinance to make this come into fluidity? Somebody want to answer the question?
Mr. Bertrand?
I'm sure we do, Mr. Green, but I would ask you this question. Have you spoken with the Restaurant Association or any of the associations associated with restaurants, and what's the response been?
Oh, yeah. I've had about 4 conversations with the president of the Louisiana Restaurant Association in New Orleans, and he says, Mr. Green, if we had to provide chairs with arms for 5% of the restaurants in Louisiana, we'd go bankrupt. And my exact reply was, please don't insult my intelligence. You cannot show me one restaurant in the whole state that's going to go bankrupt because they have to have at least 5 chairs. I went to the Golden Corral about a year ago. I was with 4 other people. In order for me to get up, I had to put my forearm on the table. I tilted 3 glasses of water and 2 plates of food. That's embarrassing. It's humiliating. And I don't want to continue that. All we're asking for is 5% of the chairs with arms. Not only for me, but for some 20 to 25% of the population. These people are voters, by the way, I might understand. And I'm going to be talking to a lot of seniors, a lot of handicapped people, and a lot of disabled veterans. It might be to some of your advantage to consider this.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask it another way. Have you talked to any of the local restaurants?
Yes, sir.
And what's your response been from there?
Oh, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. 6 months ago, they still haven't done it. There's only 3 places that I know of in Lafayette. I won't name them. But there are 3 places that have provided 5% of the chairs with arms. You know how many restaurants we have in Lafayette? I can tell you the exact number.
Let me ask you one other question. Where does the 5% come from? Where does that number come from?
That is the amount of chairs requested by the Americans with Disability Act. We got a state law passed last year. I had to go to Baton Rouge several times, but we do have a state law now mandating that all new government buildings and renovations must have at least 5% of their chairs with arms. So we got that passed. Now we're trying to do this locally. I don't want to have to make several more trips to Baton Rouge. So I'm asking the city council, everything happens locally right here. It starts here, gentlemen. I don't want to have to go through all that again. It's a very simple request.
Okay. I was just trying to determine where you came up with the numbers, who you had spoken with, and so that I could determine maybe where we go from there.
I'd love to have 20, 25%. I think I know what's going to happen. If we can get 5%, some of the other customers are going to say, hey, how about a couple more chairs? And it might be a little time before they get a few more chairs in, because they are needed. I'm sure you have some relatives, an aunt and uncle, maybe a mother, father that has a broken leg or broken foot. You remember on February 4th last year when I went to the council, did you do that little challenge that I did? Okay. I did the same.
No, I understand completely where you're coming from. And I will talk to you outside of the meeting, but I'd like to talk to you about maybe some of the restaurants who have provided seating and maybe take it from there.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Andy Nakan?
Could you get Mr. Hebert his mic hot, please? Mr. Hebert, had you had any opportunity to investigate this, explore this possibility at all in regards to the American with Disabilities Act?
Yes, I don't know that it necessarily triggers the ADA, but I think you had actually asked me to look into the matter, and in fact, we came across the state law that Mr. Green had just referenced a moment ago. I wasn't aware of that until we had found it. I don't know, I don't know of any reason why the council would not have the authority under its police power to enact this kind of regulation if the council were inclined to do that. I mean, the police power is very broad. And, you know, just, I mean, a good example was actually what Mr. Green raised with the smoking ordinance. I mean, that same power would authorize all sorts of initiatives for the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the city or parish. So, I mean, it's something that I think is within the council's authority. We just have to, somebody would have to determine exactly how that would be crafted and if that was something the council was interested in pursuing.
It's always much better when it's done on a voluntary basis, but there is possibly the authority, the power for the council to enact such an ordinance then.
Yeah, I think, again, I think the police power would justify that kind of ordinance if that was something the council wanted to pursue.
Thank you, Mr. Aber. I appreciate that information. Mr. Green, it's good to see you again, by the way. Thank you for coming by. And it struck me, too, now that I see it, I'm curious. The other day we had discussed, it's been weeks ago, you had a bill that was introduced, I believe, in the Senate regarding the education of students in the civics organizations or whatever.
Yes, sir. We got a bill passed, Senate Bill 283, 100% yeas. A person in Baton Rouge called me and told me that this is the first time in the 23 years in Baton Rouge that they ever seen a bill go by where 100% of the Senate, 100% of the House voted. That starting next year in every high school in the state of Louisiana will be injecting in their civics course the 100-point quiz that all immigrants have to pass to become citizens of the United States. So it's sitting on the governor's desk as I speak.
So that's going to require seniors to pass this test? High school seniors to pass this test to graduate?
Well, it's going to be it's going to be broken down to 3 years. I understand they can have as many times as they want to pass it because a lot of them want, but it will be injected into the civics course.
You've obviously been very busy.
Hey, it's worth it.
I know, Mr. Green, it really is. Thank you very much for your time. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Well, by the way, speaking of the Americans with Disability Act, under public accommodations, it does state restaurants. I got a copy of it if you'd like to see it.
Sure, restaurants is a public accommodation, right. No question. But whether the ADA would justify this kind of a regulation, I'm not sure that it necessarily would, but it doesn't mean you don't have that authority.
Okay. Next speaker, please.
Andreas Landor.
How you doing, Council? The last time I stood before this council, I was being presented a retirement plaque from Chief Kraft after serving 21 years on the Lafayette Police Department. It was also on that same night that I presented the council with an audio recording of an officer referring to an African-American officer as a dumb effing N-word. When I initially heard the recorded conversation, not only was I insulted as a fellow officer, but as a man of color who knows the history behind this hateful word and how it was and is still used today to degrade men of color and women of color. When it comes to law enforcement, bigotry and badges are a cocktail for disaster that will produce bias-based traffic stops, investigations, and ultimately arrest. Therefore, individuals who express themselves through bigotry and hatred should have no place in law enforcement today, and leaves many to wonder, how can he fairly supervise what's supposed to be a diverse department? Officers who behave in this manner did not go to sleep on Monday and wake up like this on Tuesday. In fact, on a separate occasion, this same officer stated to a passing motorist, "Watch where you're going, you dumb effing N-word." He subconsciously reacted by referring to this individual by this name and did not even realize that he was still on the phone with an African-American coworker. This is a recipe for destruction. Cops are trained to subconsciously stand a certain way when interacting with a suspect, subconsciously press their elbows against their weapon for weapon retention, and subconsciously aim center mass when engaging a target. Now let's add bigotry and hatred to the subconscious reaction, and what do you get? You get Ferguson, Baltimore, and South Carolina. A 30-day suspension is an insult to the African Americans officers in your department as well as the citizens in this community. In fact, Chief Kraft attempted to justify the light discipline given to this officer by advising that black officers use this word also. If Chief Kraft has no complaint or evidence of his black officers using this word and is only speculating, then shame on you for using your assumptions and criminalizing your African American officers to justify your lack of discipline given to this officer. We will no longer allow you to hide behind PPM's general orders and make up policies. This was definitely noticeable at the Lafayette Civil Service hearing held on June 10th of this year. Recently, when Chief Kraft was questioned by the media about the behavior of this officer, he simply replied, "We do not comment on public complaints as it may discourage citizens from reporting allegations of misconduct," and even threatened the media of violating this officer's Officer Bill of Rights. Not once did Chief Kraft nor D. Stanley state that this type of behavior would not be condoned at LCG. What will discourage citizens from reporting misconduct is your refusal to notify the complainant of the discipline given to the officer or officers who misconduct. You claim that this is a policy of the department, but it leaves many to wonder. Is this simply your way of concealing discipline, unfair punishment, or lack of punishment given by your department, especially after departments around the nation have no problem announcing the punishment handed down to their officers for their wrongdoings? We are no longer being fooled by the icing on the cake anymore. Regardless of how pretty and fancy the icing may appear, the cake tastes terrible. And I can vouch for the ingredients, for I once worked in the bakery. A press conference was held last month after no leads were obtained on 2 murders in North Lafayette. This is a direct culmination of the lack of diversity within the police department, a department that consists of 81% white and only 17% African American officers. Within those 42 African American officers, there are 0 African American detectives assigned to the Adult Criminal Investigation Unit of the Lafayette Police Department. Therefore, it is apparent why the lack of leads can be a problem in the minority community at times. The African American officers seen on TV during the press conference are simply used as window dressing and designated hitters. Now, by no means am I speaking negative about these officers or their skills, but what I am referencing is these minority officers are not assigned to the adult CID section, but are only temporarily placed there when leads are unable to be obtained by those who are assigned there. This is a disservice to all citizens of Lafayette and need immediate attention by Lafayette political leaders. Additional concerns with specific allegations will be addressed in the near future, and we do hope that you take our concerns as serious as you do your votes. Thank you.
Next speaker, please. To the audience members, we don't allow clapping because it delays the meeting. After the full presentation, you could show your appreciation on any side after votes or anything like that. But if you don't mind, if you could just restrain from clapping at this time. Next speaker, please.
And I hope I say this correctly. Situeyo Sag?
What he mentioned about the stuff that happened in civil service or the press conference, I was listening to make sure that he didn't talk about something specific on the department. But,
Answer of the Black Panther Party. William White, it's possible that he will make illegal traffic stops, searches, and arrests.
Sir, if you don't mind, you cannot call an officer's name. That's what the instructions was in the opening about specific employees. If you'd like to reference a scenario, a situation, like a stop or something like that, you could do that, but employees' names are prohibited, okay?
Okay, got you.
And just for clarity, because there's been some question, the reference as it relates to the chief in the last presenter's comments was things that were happening in a public meeting, and it wasn't directed to him.
All right.
So, believe you me, I'm paying attention and I'm watching it close.
Okay. It's possible also that some words may be used such as, I was attacked, someone went for my gun. A lot of things that could be said about officers that do the wrongdoing out here on the streets. And then when you come behind closed doors, people back them up. This need to stop. it really need to stop. Something need to be done about this, because if it go any further, it's possible someone may get hurt or killed by an officer and be innocent of everything. Y'all see what's going across the United States with officers pulling their firearms on people of color. This all across the United States. You men, you women, do something about this before it happens here in Lafayette, where it's happening everywhere else. We are tired of this. We are tired. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Sister Khadijah Rashad.
Good evening, Hotep Pabaragani. Assalamu alaikum. I'm calling, I've been coming to the council concerning our police officers for the last several years. And I had found out again that of the 247 officers that we have, 42 are African Americans, 199 are white, 25 is female, and 6 is other. That is to say that that's a serious gap, because of the simple fact that we need good officers to be in some of these departments, like with the K-9 unit, the adult investigators training, the narcotics, the federal task force, traffic. We need people of color to be in these particular positions. These positions are held by all white officers, and we just feel as community activists or people that really love our community that it would be ideal if indeed that we could try to find out how we could help rectify some of these numbers. I'm on a couple of boards dealing with the police officers, and of course I do have to say that there are some good police officers, and we respect them. It's just the few that are causing problems that we don't respect. Also, I know, Mr. Boudreaux, you said that we cannot call out anybody's name, and I respect that. I just wanted to say in closing that Father's Day is coming up next week, and of course, last Father's Day, we had a police officer who wrote on her Facebook page, you know, Happy Father's Day, probably one of the most confused day in the ghetto. Now, she just had just a letter, a caution letter, which is something that stays in your record for maybe about a year or so. And because she patrols 90% of our community, we was wondering if indeed that Chief Kraft was able to either give her, some of his officers, some serious diversity courses, and we are trying to also figure out if indeed there's a way that we could just help rectify the distrust that a lot of people have in our communities when it comes down to police officers. They don't intimidate me at all, but as you know, I'm just me, but a lot of times I'm giving like speeches to young men and young women. This is what you do for right now. Yes, sir. No, sir. Thank you, sir. And just take down the badge number, you know, give it to us, and we could set a meeting up with our department heads. And that's really what we really deserve and really what we really want, since we are the ones that are paying their salaries. We are the ones that are keeping them with jobs. And that's really my comment. I just want us to try to find out how we could rectify having diversity in our police department the way that we should. And I want to thank you all for your time. And oh, yes, in closing, a white officer had shot at a fleeing vehicle at Walmart, and he wasn't in danger. All right, he wasn't in danger. He only got a letter of caution for that. However, a black female who was a topper at her class in the police department, you know, she was fired for unwanted touching, really unwanted touching. So I think the discrepancies are there. We see it. And all we have to do as concerned citizens and people that love our community is work together in order to make this happen. Some of the police officers, some should be fired, and some of the other ones should just try to have diversity courses and combine with the good ones that we do have, and let's just continue to make our city blooming like it should be here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Marja Broussard.
Good evening. My name is Marja Broussard. I'm the president of the Lafayette unit of the NAACP, also a radio talk show host for KJCB, the Voice of the South. Thank you for allowing me to address you. And of course, I want to address the use of the N-word of an officer. And again, I will respect what Mr. Boudreaux said about calling out the name, but by now, I think the entire world knows his name. But the officer use of the N-word, when I think about that, and all of the negative, all of the degrading undertone, I understand you guys heard the audio, right? Am I right in that assumption? And there was an undertone to that. It makes me sick to the core of my being. I would like to believe that every person in this room who heard that audio, it makes them sick. It makes them sick. When many Caucasian people use the N-word, they're asserting their superiority. That is what it means to us, African American people. Okay? It's not so much the N-word, but it's the undertone, it's the tone that gives it its meaning. Many words can be said, and it's the tone of the word that gives it the meaning. So I'm specifically talking about that audio, okay? I heard the audio, and I heard hate and discontentment. I heard vile. I heard hatred. And I don't know if my grandkids are in here, but he was talking about every African American in this room, including those of you guys who are on the board. That's who he was referring to. Now, let's play with the word just a little bit. I hear Caucasians, people say, I'm a proud Cajun. I'm a proud, can I say coon-ass? I don't know if that's, I don't see it as a curse word. But if I want to hurt a Caucasian, okay, if I want to be vile and hatred towards them, I'll call them a dumb coon-ass or a dumb Cajun. And they know that that is not a compliment. Am I right or wrong? They know that I'm not trying to high-five them, what's up? So when that officer said that, I hate them dumb, effing, can I say it, niggers here, he was spewing hatred. Now, am I to be comfortable with an officer like that stopping my son, my daughter? Am I to be? Give me some feedback. Am I to be comfortable with that officer or any officer like him stopping a family member of mine? Now, let's flip it just a smidgen. My time is going quickly. If there was an African-American officer who says, I hate those dumb Cajuns, man, them assholes this and, coon-ass, excuse me.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Scratch that, please. But nonetheless, should I expect for a Caucasian person to be comfortable with that officer protecting them? Should I? Should I? I'm not hearing anybody. I'm hearing the people back there, but I'm talking to the people up here. Should you be comfortable with that officer answering a call to protect you? Okay, so why is this officer still on the force protecting us? Why are we paying for an officer that hates us to protect us? Why is he supervising a narcotic unit that is where? Who's always arrested? The African American men are the largest amount of African American men are incarcerated in the state of Louisiana. Lafayette Parish itself, the parish, incarcerates the largest amount of African American juveniles than anywhere in the country. Do we really need officers with that kind of hate and vile towards African Americans? I really believe that you guys on the board, no ladies on, okay, you guys really know what needs to happen. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Wallace Senegal.
Good evening. Wallace Senegal, community activist, also radio talk show host on 770 AM KJCB. Been a while since I've been up here, you know, but sometimes you got to take a stand on what you got to take a stand on, and some of the things that we have going on in our community, it gets bad sometimes, not all the time, but I think retired Officer Landor did need support in what he was talking about. I understand he did retire, you know, and once he retired, he came out with all the scuttlebutter, because if he would have came out with it before, he might have not made it to his retirement, you know. And this is going out to the chief administrator. You know, we're going to have to do something about diversity. We got diversity, but I don't think it's strong enough to really put it in the right perspective. I wore my blood donor shirt today, and when I wore this shirt, when I donate blood, I've been donating blood 3 times a year ever since I was 18 years old. And on the 28th of this month, I'll be turning 68. So, you know, I've been donating blood a long time. When I go to the blood bank, that's the only place. They don't ask me what's my race, what's my origin, or anything. All they want to know is to make sure I didn't go out the country, and I haven't been out the country. So somebody other than me got my blood, and I don't think it's, you know, just black folks, African American, colored folks, Negroes, and nothing like this here. But we all should be coming together, and let's make the police department a little more diverse. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Oscar Narcisse.
I'm Oscar Narcisse. I'm a business owner and also an activist in the community. Listen, y'all, I mean, it really upsets me because we got so much problems that we got to deal with in the African American community. And, you know, people should be working together. No matter what color we all should be working together. We should not be dealing with racism, not in the police department. The police department job is to protect and serve the community. All right? We shouldn't have to deal with racism. If somebody makes racial slurs, they should be fired. Okay? We don't need them. We got too much problems in our community. We got gunshots, random gunshots everywhere you're going. Truman, Macomb, VZ, people playing with guns. We got people walking around chemically unbalanced, doing crime. So we need the police department and the community to work together to solve the problems that we have. We don't need to be dealing with ignorance. That's my comment.
Next speaker.
Final speaker, Bill Hayes.
Changing the subject a little bit. Y'all might remember me from last month. I came in and spoke against the ban on smoking in bars, and I just wanted to come. I got two things to talk about. One has nothing to do with the other. I just want to express my appreciation for y'all not passing that. Appreciate the 5 that voted in opposition of it. But I also wanted to say, I couldn't stick around after I spoke, so I didn't see how things played out, but I did go back and watch the video of it afterward. And, well, for one thing, I want to say I appreciate you guys, your jobs, after having seen that. I can imagine what it must be like sometimes for you guys, sitting there for hours, going through stuff. But I also wanted to say, I didn't know anything about you, Mr. Boudreaux, before this. I didn't know anything about, well, most any of y'all before this. And I got to say, I appreciate you and Mr. Nakan, Kevin Nakan. I listened to what y'all said. It was heartfelt and genuine. Actually, after I finished watching the thing, I kind of felt bad that it didn't pass. But I want to stand against such things. There is the issue of personal freedom. I personally don't have a dog directly in a fight because it's been more than 25 years since I've gone to bars, hung out in bars. I do smoke. I plan to quit in a couple of weeks, couple of months. I actually found something helpful on one of the sites of one of the groups that came in here in support of the thing, Quit Plan. I highly recommend it. I plan on using it. But I just want y'all to remember, I mean, things like this, okay, they passed it for restaurants. Well, okay, people don't go to restaurants to smoke and eat. They go there to eat. If they can't smoke, they'll smoke later. They'll take a break and smoke. Bars are different. I mean, okay, so bars won't lose business. Well, maybe not the trendy bars. The bars where everybody's going to go anyway. But after this, I hadn't had a chance to do this, but I went back. I went to Rusty's Bar by the Jefferson Street underpass. It's one of those little corner bars, you know, where old people go. And, you know, when I say old people, I guess my age and maybe older. But it's like your dad's bar, your grandfather's bar. There's like a half dozen people sitting there, nursing their beers and smoking their cigarettes. And the bartender's smoking a cigarette. And that's the kind of place that would definitely not survive something like this. It'd be small things, sure, but, you know, those people would just stay home. If they couldn't just sit there, smoke their cigarettes and drink a beer, they just wouldn't go to the bar. They'd just go stay home. And so you got to remember things like this. There are unintended consequences to things. So that being said, I'm going to my next other thing, which it's coincidental. I didn't know anything about all this. I've had this idea for a month or two that we should somehow show our support for the local police, just in general, and also because there's a lot of bad press for police lately. It sounds like there's some issues that need to be addressed, and I imagine y'all are going to address them. But I was thinking it'd be a good thing for the council to come up with a resolution in support of the police, maybe designate a day or a week, local law enforcement appreciation day/week. I went and looked to see if anything like that had been done. I couldn't find anything locally except for last month on the 14th, they had a tribute and a memorial service to local Acadiana police officers who died in the line of duty. There's like a National Police Week in the middle of May also, and there's also a couple other things that I found. I also found a list of all the police officers in Lafayette Parish who'd been killed in the line of duty. I made a list of that. I have that with me, by the way. I meant to hand it out to you. Anyway, I see I'm running out of time. I'm about halfway through drafting a resolution, you know, something that y'all could use as a model, but I think if this is an idea that you want to pursue, I think it's something that deserves to be done. These guys and these gals have a difficult job, and it'd be, I think, the proper thing to do to show them our support. as a community. Thank you.
Thank you. One announcement, and I should have announced it before, especially for everyone who's in attendance tonight. On June the 29th, I was contacted early in the week by the supervisor of the FBI, I think it's the Lafayette office, Don Bostic. And on June the 29th, it'll be at the Light Center. There's going to be a civil rights panel and forum to address the issues of community and the engagement with law enforcement. The FBI, the U.S. Attorney's Office, ULPD, Lafayette Police Department, Sheriff Department, and state police, I was told, will be a part of that, and there may be others. But I want to extend an invitation. It's going to be June the 29th at the Light Center. I don't have the time. I was checking as the conversation was going on, but I'll make sure I get some information out there and some announcements, and certainly try to get it to as many groups as possible. But you may want to consider attending that. It will be a question and answer session to that as well, segment to that session as well. Okay? Next speaker. Okay. Now we're going to move to resolutions. Jeremy, could you please read the first resolution?
Resolution 22, 2015, a resolution of the Lafayette City Parish Council designating funds from the Federal Urban System Funds from the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development and placing certain projects on the Transportation Improvements Plan.
Motion by Mr. Bertrand, second by Mr. Castile. Council discussion. Mr. Terrio?
Yes, I'd like to let the council know that I had received a request last week from the mayor of Youngsville and the Youngsville Council in reference to a possible project in dealing with the MPO. As you all know, Youngsville is or has been it's been agreed upon by the school board that they're going to be having a new school coming in. And that location, from what I understand, will be south of La Riviere, where it meets Almanasta Road. It's going to be on the northeast quadrant of that corner there. What Youngsville is asking, and I'm in support of, there's a short section of South La Riviere Road that would need some improvements in order to provide for future school buses, things for the kids and things like that. From what I understand too, I've briefly been in touch with, I think, Public Works. If I can call Mr. Weibel up, if you can come and visit with me, sir, just to give the council some idea of what we're looking at. This particular section, initially we thought was not designated as MPO, as being on the MPO list, but from what I understand now, this particular section has been designated as being on the MPO list. Mr. Weibel, can you give us a little information on this particular section?
Yes, sir. It was overlooked when we were compiling all the list of the MPO eligible roads. We were asked to do that in a short period of time, and it's just one of them that got overlooked. There may be another one or two, but we're going back and double checking to make sure that we do have them all included on both the urban and the rural listing. The section of South La Riviere that you're talking about that is eligible for federal funding is about 2,200 feet in length. And it begins somewhere around Investment Drive, and it proceeds south to about 1,700 feet north of Alamaster.
Which is right in the area where the school is going to be at on that northeast quadrant.
Yes, as I understand it.
Okay. And I know we kind of got you to jump through some hoops, Mr. Weibel, and thank you for doing that. But what kind of cost did you come up with an overlay on that, sir?
Well, we didn't have the opportunity to go in the field and visit the road and get a true perspective of what it looks like. So looking at it from Google Earth, 2014 imagery, it looked to be in a condition 2-3, which is a road that would require mill patch and overlay. So about $160,000 is what we estimate.
Okay. Now, with that, council, I received a letter from Youngsville that also states, and I'm trying to verify here, but from what I understand here, it says the city of Youngsville is committed to appropriating the city's required matching funds for our program. So which means that if there were matching funds needed in order for this particular project, they would be willing to possibly pay for the match. Now, we're looking at possibly $160,000, give or take, tentatively, based on the project. I just want to ask the council, on behalf of Youngsville and the new school coming in, if there is something we can do. I know we have some allocation of funds. I know some of the roads were broken down as a 4.2, Mr. Weibel, and then there was another section that was 4.8. How did we come to the split? Do you have any idea on the MPO as to how that split was decided upon?
The Director of Public Works knows more about that than I do, but I believe there is a project in the urban area that is ready to go to construction based on the federal funds that are available. If we could put up the match, and that would be the match.
Yeah. I guess, guys, what I'm doing at this level is I'm asking you if there's somewhere in here where we can get $160,000 to help Youngsville out. Mr. Chair, I don't know how I would do that based on the allocation. Any suggestions?
I don't know. Carly has stepped up to the mic.
I was just going to add to what Mitch said. In the 4.2, what I believe they did was took basically all of the Category 1 roads in the parish, in the unincorporated parish, and that is in the resolution, those 9. And all of the ones that are Category 1 that are not on this list, there is some other public works, quote, plan for. So we basically were able to get all the Category 1 roads in the parish into the resolution.
The unincorporated.
Unincorporated, yeah.
Okay. And that particular one, I mean, from what I understood, and I may be wrong, but I thought it's been a couple of years since that one's been evaluated, the South La Riviera, Carla?
That's what Mr. Weibel just indicated, yes. But they believe it's probably a 2. And we have a whole nother batch of 2 and 3 roads beyond the Category 1.
Okay. So at this point, what you're saying is the amount that we have are being used up for the ones, and there's nothing excess, nothing available that can be used for this particular stretch?
We totaled it up to $9 million between the $4.2 million in the unincorporated parish and the $4.8 with the Johnston Street pilot project. So there's no extra within the $9 million that the resolution covers.
And I mean, nothing to go against Mr. Durrell's project on the 4.8, and there's nothing there that can be used for $150,000, $160,000 if we didn't move couple of phone poles or something like that?
I think that the 4.8 doesn't cover the entire Johnston Street match. So there would be our hope is to put a small amount in the capital budget this year, but that this would be kind of the good faith effort towards the majority of the match to get the Johnston Street project going.
So in your opinion, right now, the roads that are have been recognized are the ones that need to be taken care of?
Yes, sir.
Desperately.
So can we go ahead and make note that in the event we can't find anything for this particular round of MPO funds, that we definitely put this on a priority for anything next year that might be available? Because with a new school coming up, naturally, that is something that needs to be looked at.
Yes, sir.
Carla, can you just, for William to know, the money for the demonstration project that they're allowing us to use that as a match will get us how much bang for our buck?
Right around, I think, 19 to 22 million, depending on if you use today's figures or future figures. Is the whole project, when it's all said and done, I think is projected to cost about $22 million.
So it's a good investment, return.
Okay. Well, thank you, guys. I just wanted to bring that to attention. I do support the project. Let's make note of this, that we need to keep an eye on this and move forward with trying to do something. We're probably still looking at 2 years out from what I understand before the school is going to be built. But let's put that on the agenda to make sure that we're looking forward to helping if we can.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, folks. That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Weibel. Thank you, sir. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Castillo.
Mr. Weibel, No, you can't leave that quick until we vote on this item.
Yes, sir.
Quick question. I'm just kind of following Mr. Terrio. These projects that you have, condition one, that are laid out in this plan, our other our rural overlay projects and other monies, all condition one roads will be taken care of within these couple of years that we're looking at?
The only other MPO funding that we've applied for.
Outside of MPO money. I know the MPO is paying for it now.
Right.
We have condition one roads in other areas also. Now, through your rural overlay program, we do target condition one roads first.
Yes.
Then we work our way down.
Yes.
And this is a 2 and a 3. So it's a fairly decent road.
Well, we haven't.
Country road.
We haven't. You talking about South La Riviere?
Yeah.
We haven't inspected South La Riviere personally since 2013. That was the last visual inspection that we made. The 2014 view that we use today from Google Earth seems to indicate that it's a 2-3, somewhere in that ballpark. We plan on going out there and doing an actual walk and visual inspection and make sure what the actual condition is.
Right. Okay. Well, I do agree with that, with the school being, coming up and everything, that we look at that in the future. But I will support this project by the MPO. It's going to take care of a lot of condition one roads that are desperately needed.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, and Mr. Castillo, I appreciate what you're saying, as well as Mr. Terrio. The only thing I want us to be careful of, and I know since I've been on this council, we talk a lot about comprehensive planning, we talk about working relationships between governments, and this demand for this school, I guess about 6 years ago, I told someone that the development in the Youngsville area, Youngsville-Broussard area, is going to somewhat privatize public education, and they've been affected by it. They've gone out, they've populated an area, they've built some very beautiful, nice homes, and they're going to now get a brand new school. There are schools that are in fact underutilized. I saw some parents stood up about some rezoning issues that are being considered, and now it's now affecting us because we want to prioritize a road, and mainly because a new school is going to be built for safe travel for buses and parents and bike cyclists, et cetera, et cetera. I'm under the impression that good planning addresses that issue. But if someone chooses to go out and do this, they may need to calculate some of these additional needs that's going to be in there. Because as you said, there's a list, and I'm going to be interested to see what the list from Public Works look like. But there are a list of roads in this parish all over the place, the categories, we get them all the time. And when we start building schools and hospitals and parks and those things, we got to be cautious, because if that's going to put a greater demand on some infrastructure needs that would take away from some things that are on the books, that's going to be problematic. So we have to be cautious. We have to somehow, some way, get the school system at the table with LCG and start planning and mapping some of these things out so we could all be on one accord. Mr. Durrell?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Boulanger, can you come up for a second? Can you explain the intent of this money as it relates to the new NPO as opposed to the old NPO, just so everybody is clear from a press standpoint or whatever? Just let us know what the expectation is.
Thank you. My name is Kevin Boulanger, 208 West Gloria Switch Road, Lafayette, with Acadiana Planning Commission. The $9 million was granted to the Lafayette MPO in response to the efforts that are going on now. It's not contingent upon, but it was a good faith initiative by the Highway Department to give it to Lafayette, the old MPO, the MPO as it was before it became a TMA. So now the TMA is comprised of more participants, and hopefully more participants will come to the table even after we hopefully take the vote tonight. But the intent is the monies that are being provided can only be spent within the older MPO, the MPO as it was before.
And so the expectation is that the new MPO would respect the wishes of this body.
The
as
MPO
acting as the old MPO.
That is correct, because the old MPO respected this body as the governing authority of the MPO.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Bertrand.
Thank you. I just want to say that we all want to take care of all the Condition 1 roads, obviously first as the voters voted on it a few years ago, but also we're going to have some other funding mechanisms. They're not all going to go through the MPO and the highway systems grants and some of the other roads that we know are woefully inadequate today. And there's going to be some other opportunities, including budget, coming up here in a few months to deal with some of these issues based on what we have. The good thing about the MPO, and I think the new MPO is going to help even more in helping us distribute funds in a wider area, and hopefully even if we get broader membership, we'll have broader access to funds in order to get projects done. So this certainly does not mean that the projects that Mr. Castillo's speaking about and Mr. Terrio's talking about can't be done at some time in the future. And I'm sure that the project that Mr. Terrio's talking about is not only legitimate but well worthwhile, but this isn't the only mechanism to do it. However, that being said, the more input we can get into the MPO, in particular when we have meetings about MPO projects and what the MPO is doing from Youngsville and others, then it just makes it more apparent what our priorities are. So I would certainly invite you to come to the MPO meetings. I know Jay's always there when I'm there. And that goes for the mayor of Youngsville as well. The more participation we have, the better. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council discussion? Any blue cards?
No, sir.
Okay. Please call the vote.
District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
Motion to adopt is approved.
Okay, we're going to now move to ordinances for final adoption. Again, this is a public hearing, and the blue sheets are available for anyone wishing to address the council. The 5-minute rule remains in effect. Jeremy, please read item number 7.
Ordinance 103, 2015, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the fiscal year 14-15 operating and capital budgets of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by creating a new combined public health millage fund, transferring excess fund balances into the new fund, and decreasing revenues paid by participating municipalities and the parish general fund for animal control services, as well as providing for the funding for additional personnel in the Animal Control Division adopted in Ordinance 248, 2014, amending the Manning Table for an apprenticeship program and adding $3 million in capital for a new animal control facility.
Motion by Mr. Bertrand, second by Mr. Castillo. There is an amendment offered to change the $3 million for a new animal control facility to, is it 500 or 300? 500,000, okay. For architectural and engineering cost for the same.
I offer that.
Castillo offered it. Would you second it, Mr. Bertrand? Okay. All right, we're going to open the floor for council discussion. Mr. Castillo.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I'm offering this amendment. When we had the last discussion, we kind of went round and round, and I thought it'd be more prudent to start the process the correct way, putting some money up front to hire the architect and engineer through professional services, and start designing this facility. And at that point in time, when it's completed, that they can come back to council and give us a cost estimate on the actual facility. And then at that time, go ahead and appropriate the funds for that facility. I think this is a better way to handle it. I spoke to Mr. Durrell. He understands where I'm coming from. I think we're on the same page. And I would hope everyone would support this amendment. Thank you, sir.
Any other council discussion? Seeing none on any blue cards. Please call the vote on the
District 2?
amendment.
Yes. District 3?
Yes.
District 4? District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9? Yes. District 1? Yes. Motion to amend is approved.
Call the vote on the ordinance as amended.
District 2?
Yes.
Yes. District 4?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
District 1? Yes. Motion to adopt as amended is approved. Ordinance 115, 2015, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council declaring the garage located at 602 Myrtle Place Boulevard, Lafayette, Louisiana, owned by J. Vincent Smith and Deborah Bush Smith, to be dilapidated and dangerous to the public welfare and ordering the condemnation of same.
Motion by Mr. Bertrand, second by Mr. Kevin Nakir. Mr. Andy Nakir.
Mr. Viator, we all understand the necessity for this moving forward. I was curious if Mr. J. Smith, has he contacted you in any way regarding this building to be?
Yes, he did talk to Mr. D. Stanley earlier, and we still recommend it be condemned. We've been working on this case since May of 2014, so it's over a year old.
Right. But the obvious conditions warrant moving forward with this. I was just making sure that there was some open lines of communication there. He understands the situation and knows that he still has some options on the table, which is good, but I see the necessity to move forward with this. I understand a permit was pulled for the remodeling or rebuilding of this in May, is that correct?
Well, we start code enforcement in May of 2014. He pulled a permit in November 2014.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Yeah.
so it is expired.
Right. You just have to start the process all over again.
Right.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he understands what's going on. Mr. Stanley, I know you've been in communications with him. You feel he understands where he can go with this?
Mr. Nakir, I spoke with him about 4 o'clock this afternoon. He regrets that he was not able to be here tonight. He did ask for deferral of the ordinance. I explained to him the issue and what the council has done relative to those type of requests, especially given the length of time. He did indicate that his intention was not to demolish and that he would attempt to exercise the 90-day, would communicate with Mr. Viator to be able to do that. He did engage a contractor in May of this year, although they have not pulled a permit yet. The weather has been tremendously horrible for them to do it, but he did formally request deferral, but his intention is to use the 90-day window to renovate.
Well, I appreciate y'all keeping the lines of communication open there for him, but he does need to move forward with this, and I think he understands that. I would hope he would. And I'll communicate with Mr. Smith also as much as possible in regards to this.
He's also aware of the concerns about the neighborhood and is working hard to address those.
Obviously, the conditions are unsafe for the neighbors. I would not want to be a resident living next door to that garage itself, you know. I can see the problems there, but I think he's aware of the severity of the conditions, so I think we'll be good. But I want to thank you, gentlemen, for your communication with Mr. Smith. I appreciate y'all handling that the way y'all did. It's very professional.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Terrio.
Just to add in also, I spoke with Mr. Smith this afternoon. He said some of the same things Mr. Stanley mentioned. Just to let this council know, back in 2014, he initially was diagnosed with cancer and was going through some round of treatments. And right now, he is also going through treatment again. In talking with him today, he says, like Mr. Stanley said, he has a contractor designated as of May. Of course, in May, it rained the whole time. What he told me today, and Mr. Viator, maybe you can help out, is that he's saying within 3 weeks, hopefully, this should be completed once the contractor gets in, weather permitting. So even if this passes tonight, under your guidelines, do you still think he's going to be in good shape on this?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, again, depending on whether I'm getting a date of completion on this, is probably about 3 weeks is what he's telling me. So, that's all I have. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other council discussion? Any blue cards?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please call the vote.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
District 1? District 2?
Yes.
To adopt is approved. Ordinance 118, 2015, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the fiscal year 14-15 operating budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by authorizing the budgeting of prior year WIA funds to cover interim salary costs for a 3-month period within the Office of the Chief Administrative Officer, Workforce Investment Board Division budget, and within the Community Development Department Workforce Development Division budget, and adjusting manning tables and personnel costs by deleting 1 full-time accounting clerk position.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bertrand, second by Mr. Andy Nakam. Council discussion. Seeing none, are there any blue cards?
Yes, sir.
Please call the vote.
District 4?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
Motion to adopt is approved.
A reminder that this item number 10 is being deferred until the July 7th meeting per PZD request. We'll now move to item number 11.
Ordinance 124, 2015, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council authorizing the Lafayette City Parish President to enter into an intergovernmental agreement by which the Acadiana Planning Commission will assume responsibility for the staffing of the Metropolitan Planning Organization and become its fiscal agent, authorizing the Lafayette City Parish President to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the Acadiana Planning Commission to lease office space and utilize certain technologies at the Rosa Parks Transportation Center, amending the fiscal year 14-15 operating budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by authorizing the use of prior year fund balance in the city general fund in the amount of $257,694, the parish general fund in the amount of $13,189, the road and bridge maintenance fund in the amount of $36,862, and the city sales tax capital improvement fund in the amount of $71,184, and appropriating within the Planning Division, General Accounts, and Chief Development Office sections, and amending the manning tables by deleting the Metropolitan Planning Organization employee positions.
Motion by Mr. Bertrand, second by Mr. Patin. Mr. Blanchet. Good evening.
Good evening.
Just a couple of things. The current employees of the MPO, what's their status?
They will all be taken into the new APC as they are today.
As they are today.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when we met, you talked to me about the representation on the Planning Commission, the oversight body.
Right.
Of all the government entities that participate. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little about that designation, and with the adoption of this ordinance, what type of representation would we have with the Planning Commission, the Acadiana Planning Commission?
Well, let me first off say that there are two distinct entities, the MPO staff and the overall arching Acadiana Planning Commission entity. You may remember we discussed that the APC, the Acadiana Planning Commission, was created by virtue of all the governing jurisdictions within Acadiana, and it has duly appointed the highest elected official, which is the parish president. We are desiring to get back the designation by the Economic Development Administration through the U.S. Department of Commerce. In order to do that, we have to abide by the criteria
that they put out as far as the representation and the guidance, the governance of that entity. We are going to be taking that up shortly over the next few months in bringing in more, hopefully bringing in more representatives. It is a requirement that minorities be appointed to that board. It is also a requirement that business entities be a part of that board as well to receive the
that board is the
being the Acadiana Planning Commission.
Board. Okay.
It shall be reflective of the populace that it serves. And we intend to do that. And the elected officials are aware that we're going to be pursuing that.
And that is the one that has been designated for the city parish president at this time.
That is correct. There will be additional appointments to that board.
You want to grow that? Okay.
That is correct.
I had an opportunity to look at the South Central Planning Commission, and their makeup, that's where you want to go?
That is correct.
That is representation?
That is reflective of our citizenry within the area that we serve in the Bayou region. And we expect to have the same makeup of the board here in Acadiana.
Okay. But that's going to require some activity, you said, at the federal level. You have to submit some things to get that authority.
The board is going to, on its own, open up its governance. And they are aware that they will be doing that in the months to come.
Okay.
To get redesignated by the U.S. Department of Commerce.
Got you. When that in fact happens, is there a process that is utilized to determine, now that you have these additional appointments, mandate minority representation, expanding of the commission in general, business community, and things like that, how those determinations made? Is that an internal commission process, or is it some other way that you determine that?
Well, I don't dare be presumptuous on how the board is going to move forward, but I can tell you and speak about how we have done it, which is the governing authority of the Lafayette Parish City Government would make those appointments, and those appointments on the minority would be of those individuals who are elected. It would have to be an elected, that is how we do it. We will probably suggest to the board, the APC board, that they kind of similarly create their board kind of like ours. Okay. And thus, this board hopefully might have an opportunity to appoint an elected official. The business representative in our area is appointed by the actual highest elected official. All business appointments come from the parish president.
And do you envision, and just as a comparison, that would be the level of expansion of business in a minority person, or is it possibly greater than that?
It can be greater. Obviously, you have 8 parishes within Acadiana. You have a total of 56 jurisdictions, political jurisdictions, municipalities, and parishes. So, you try to have a good working board. I know that the parish leaders are desirous to have inclusion, but are we really going to get a lot accomplished by having 70 board members?
Right.
So we will hopefully try to strive for somewhere around 30 to 35.
Okay.
I would hope.
Okay. And could you just give me an idea, the department, the employees of the Acadiana Planning Commission, their working relationship outside of, like in our case, the TPC or the MPO that remains, their working relationship with that governing authority. In this case, like LCG, obviously the president will be there, the mayor president will be there as a rep on the commission itself, and possibly other appointments. But as far as direct, if when we get down to projects, for instance, the working relationship between the employees and the government itself going forward?
Well, I can answer very broadly. The legislation that creates this basically says that the Planning Commission shall work to help the members of its commission plan for the future. That's very broad and purposeful. It could be in transportation. It could be in economic development. It can be in housing development. It can be in law enforcement. It can be in code enforcement. It can be in a variety of things. We're going to work through the board in trying to determine what is the needs of this region, and our staffing will follow those needs. We've done a needs analysis. We've revealed it to the board. We're hopeful over the next year to be able to staff this new commission with professionals that are going to help bring some worth to this region. But we're only going to do the work that you all ask us to do. We're not off on our own, kind of doing our own thing. We're controlled. We know who we work for. And ultimately, those votes carry a lot of weight.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Shelvin.
Thank you.
How you doing, sir?
Fine, thank you.
Help me to get some clarity on exactly the makeup of the APC taking over our employees. Am I correct saying that the employees currently now are Lafayette Consolidated Government employees?
That is correct.
Okay. If this passes, where do they go and what happens?
Well, literally, they do not move. We're entering.
I know that physically they're not moving. They're going to stay in the Rosa Parks.
Into an agreement to rent the Rosa Parks facility.
I'm not talking about.
They will be under the management of myself. I run an MPO currently. I've been running an MPO for 30 years. I've had 30 years of experience in how to make this happen. The problem is that you have approximately 12 employees that are employed by Lafayette doing the work on varieties of other jurisdictions. And I can tell you that over the past 30 years, I've known many of your staff, and I know that they truly work for the region. But the perception is that they truly work for Lafayette. And we know that is not true, but the perception still exists. Your work will still get done. It will be more or less in a venue of regionalism. Those employees will still be employed. They will be in an autonomous entity such as APC. We see a betterment. We want to bring inclusion. I think it was Mr. Bertrand mentioned, united we stand, divided we fall. And that is true. The larger the group, the larger the focus area, the greater the rewards that we can bring back to this region. And that is what we have done where I am down in Houma. The same thing existed 15 years ago down in Houma.
All right, I'm not trying to cut you off.
Okay.
That's
fine.
Yeah.
I could go on all night.
I understand. I'm more specific. Our employees, the 12 that you just talked about, they currently work for LCG in our planning and zoning development department, correct?
They work, I believe, for the MPO. I think the planning and zoning was
Can you make Mr. Stanley hot, Mr. Chairman?
They're our employees.
They are our employees?
Yes.
Okay. If we approve this, they will no longer be our employees?
That's correct.
Which means that the APC has the ability to hire or fire our employees.
That's correct.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that.
Well,
because they're our employees.
They will not be your employees if this goes through.
If.
But again, the work that they are doing will continue. I am going to always be, and this APC will always be beholding to Lafayette because of its majority of the MPO and likely the majority within the APC itself. Because the APC will probably be balanced with population, I would expect as well.
One of the telling comments in Kevin's comment is that he knows the staff, and based on a 30-year involvement with this process, he's been very involved with employees on a professional basis. The delicate part of this conversation, especially publicly, is trying to get a commitment from Kevin, if this changes, well, you'll keep all 12 and they'll be doing the same job. And well, that certainly handcuffs him from a management standpoint. But what we've heard from Kevin is he likes what he sees from the staff, but there will be some organizational issues that he'll have to work through. He may wish to expand on that a little bit as it relates to retention, but I know his intention is to, and what he has told us, is to retain every employee that it's possible to retain where it makes sense for the proper management of the organization.
And I'll be very brief for you. We have the ability to act very quickly in going after grants. We have a budget down where we are is close to $13 million. Right now, your budget here in Lafayette, 3 times the size of our area, is about $1.4 million. So we're going to be very active in going after a lot of grants. I like what I've seen. Mr. D is very correct. I don't expect to change anything. But I cannot promise you that next year when Congress slashes some of the funds, I may be posed with some of the same things that you would have been concerned with. How do you maintain staff with no funding? Today we have that funding. As long as that funding is there, I don't see any issues with any of the employees. Today, they're at civil service. I believe when they come to work for us, they will be at will, as every planning commission across the state is. And just one last comment. In Louisiana, there, I think, are 12 MPOs. Of those 12, 10 are within regional planning commissions. Only one other, which is in Shreveport, is not within a planning commission. It's within a council of governments, a sort of regionalized entity, but not a planning commission. And also in Alexandria, they are within the area planning commission, not the regional planning commission.
Okay. What are your plans with our 12 employees?
To work them. To put them to work.
Retention plans.
I am not getting rid of anyone. Everyone will be employed. Some employees are part-time right now. There's only 7 of those individuals that are receiving benefits. My expectations, I want to make sure that all of them receive benefits. They're all good people. They all have families. It's going to be my job to ensure that we work to try to generate enough revenue to be able to put them all to work. Some may not just work in transportation. These are planners. Planners can do a variety of things. They can do housing planning. They can do community development, grant management, grant writing, and I plan to use their resources.
Okay. D, are these 12 currently under the retirement system?
No, only 7.
So 7 out of the 12 are under the retirement system. Obviously that does not transfer over.
They will be paid out, and they will start an existing retirement, which is the MERS retirement, which is Plan A, which is what you have. They can transfer it or get paid out.
Okay, so their retirement can continue.
That is correct.
Okay.
Their insurance benefits will likely be better as well as their income.
How would insurance be better?
Well, we're not self-insured, so we have to go out to Blue Cross. So we did somewhat of a comparison to what they're offered today. The benefits package that we're going to provide to them is a little bit better. For instance, at our shop, we pay 90% of all health care, all dental, vision, and we also have life insurance. Some of that is not provided here. So we're going to provide that to them now.
Okay. So your current plans are to retain all the 12?
That is correct.
And your future plans are?
To retain all the 12.
Well, that's current. I heard you say something about there's not funding next year.
Again, it's no different than this government. This government has to retain or receive revenue to sustain their employment. If there is no sustained revenue, you have to figure out how you move forward.
Right, but
So
we
what
have
I'm
an
telling
ability,
you-
we have an ability to find things that we want to keep. I mean, we got
I understand.
a budget over 600 million, not 13 million. So you can't compare that to
I
this
understand.
government, so.
But I have faith
Right.
that given the makeup of our APC board, that they will direct the staff to do a variety of things throughout the next year. Currently, for the next year, actually for the next 2 to 3 years, we have enough funding in place to be able to hire and keep those employees that we have currently.
Up until when?
For the 3 years. So.
For 3 years.
Until the funding gets renewed, which it has. Federal funding for highway improvements and federal transit, it's pretty secure.
And how many members will the APC consist of? How many board members?
There are 8 parish presidents that make up the Acadiana Planning Commission today. And we're meeting June the 30th, and one of the items on the agenda will be to discuss future membership.
So the 8 parish presidents will be the APC commission?
Board of Directors.
It will be the board of directors.
That is correct.
Who breaks the tie?
Well, the chairman doesn't vote. So unless there's one missing and the chairman, or 2 missing, the chairman may vote if there's a tie.
Okay. Okay. Carl, you had anything to add? I saw you came up while I was.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Can you put Mr. Aberhart real quick? Just got one quick question.
Thank you.
If for some reason the council decides that they don't like what's happened to our 12 employees, or don't like the direction that the APC is going, can we unwind this?
I think once you enter into the agreement, there wouldn't be any provision in the agreement unless it was somehow breached. And I mean, if you just simply didn't like the way it was going, I mean, there wouldn't be a way.
We can't repeal it. If we just say, look, I don't think this is not working out for some apparent reason.
You're going to enter into some contractual obligations here that you wouldn't be able to just turn around and repeal the ordinance and get out of the contractual obligation at that.
How long is the contract for?
I think it's not for a particular term. It's indefinite to redesignate the MPO and reorganize the MPO entirely. So, I mean, there's no particular term to that.
So there's no clause in here that says that since the council is approving this, if this council, maybe a future council, may come back and say, I don't think this is working out, can we?
And I'd have to go back and look at the agreement in more detail, but basically, I mean, my recollection of the agreement is you've entered into some contractual obligations with a number of other governing entities to completely reorganize the MPO. So it wouldn't be a simple matter of simply rescinding what you previously did, because again, you would have entered into a contract that you can only get out of by either another contract that everybody agrees to, get out of or amend in some fashion.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, may I add to that? Mr. Sheldon, the MPO is going to be vastly represented by Lafayette. If at any time the APC does not do the work adequately to your expectations, those 14 individuals that represent Lafayette's interest of the 28, and by the way, there's one non-voting, could easily redirect those employees of the MPO. Maybe not take them, but offer them positions within their own MPO if they want to so choose, take that MPO back. There is a mechanism in place for you to take it back. Simply by the sheer numbers of representation that you have. But I want to stress to you tonight that it is my expectations to work hard to never allow that to happen or cause that to happen. And that's my promise to this
right. And
body.
I'm not questioning your stance or your word or what you're saying, but we live in a fluid society. Things change, people change, positions change. It's not 100% definite that you could be here by next year or in 6 months. I mean, you could have a career change or something. So I understand what you're telling me now, and that's fine. But once again, the guys up here can change once every 4 years. So we live in a very fluid society, and one thing has been a constant for LCG is that we've tried to protect the integrity of our employees. We've always done that to try to protect them and make sure they're in an environment where they can prosper and do well and provide for their families. I've worked in the private, and I'm just being frank, I'm not saying this is exactly what's going to happen, but I've worked in the private sector, and I've seen where there's been a change in management, and management has came in and brought their own people in with them that they trust, that they rely on, that knows, as a manager, knows your mannerisms and knows what you want and what you don't want, and people that can do the job the way you want them to do, rather than bringing in a team that you know nothing about, that you think might not have been getting the job done to begin with. So my only issue is not questioning whether or not you can do the job. My main focus with this last 15 minutes of conversation we've had is to protect our employees, period.
I truly respect that.
Yeah.
But again, I've met with all of them individually, and so far I like what I hear and like what I see.
You see words like "so far."
Oh,
those words, "so far," possibly.
If they come to work tomorrow with a gun, or after July 4th or 1st, I may have a different opinion.
Right, yeah, but that's not mixed metaphors.
All right.
Is that it, Mr. Shelvin?
Yeah, I'm done.
Thank you. I don't know if this is a Carly question or a D question. In reference to those employees that Mr. Shelvin was just speaking about, were they given other options by us? I'm like, I'm confident that things will be all right. But were there options if they wanted to stay within the LCG family?
Not
to
yet,
in fact stay?
but interesting that you would mention that, because I had that discussion with Mr. Belanger in the hallway going in, if there is a potential, or if he's received any outreach from the employees relative to a lateral or into vacant positions that we have. As you know, we're doing fairly well with filling vacancies these days. We have probably fewer than 60 out of 2,300 employees, and 20 of those are in the fire department. So, but there may be a potential for lateral into other positions that are open, and civil service, of course, gives the preference to a transfer to avoid layoff if that were the case. So
if one of those individuals, for whatever reason, felt that the 3-year lock guarantee was just not enough, not knowing what funding will be like in years to come, if they just declare that they would like to stay with LCG, they become a priority with civil service, and they could very well stay where they're at.
And with us and the directors as well. If so far does not work out, then yes, we would certainly look before that happened, and would anticipate communication with Mr. Belanger, because I think the employee would know, or begin to know, that perhaps they're not a good fit. I think the fact that in good faith they are at Rosa Parks, they're keeping the same structure so far, they're staying in that work environment, is a positive thing for them. It's just a question of where their paycheck and where their benefits come from the next day after they sever. The real issue is if they now is the time, because if they sever, and once they sever, then there's no lateral ability to be able to do that, because they become external to the system.
And that's why they need to declare that beforehand and not ever leave, and they're okay.
Before they sign the PA going, then there would be a time to say, I'm interested in a lateral before I do that. And I know that Kevin would certainly work with us on that timetable. Fortunately, we're not dealing with a large number of folks, and that's a finite answer to a question. That's vacancy that we have available for which that employee might be qualified for.
They're informed, so.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And again, this is, as you know, from just the appearances before this body and the movement in this direction, this is not something that has happened overnight. This has been months in the planning, and nothing has taken any of the employees that are involved that we're discussing tonight by surprise. We care about the process, and we certainly care about them, and Kevin and Monique have been very attentive to being responsible stewards as it relates to the future of those folks.
And
okay,
Mr. Boudreau?
Yes, sir.
Every one of the employees who are vested have been approached by administration to see if they wanted a lateral move. They had that option for probably the last 2 months.
Okay, good.
And just lastly, before I go sit down and be quiet, I really want to publicly thank administration for allowing us to get to this point. I really think this
Why
is
them? Why not us?
And I didn't finish.
You don't have a vote.
You didn't let me finish.
Voted yet.
And I also want to thank all of you for being very compassionate to what we're doing and listening to us over the last year. And I want to personally thank Monique Boulay, who has done an outstanding job helping us, as we call it down in Homa, run the traps. So she's done a really good job for us, and we're excited about the opportunity. Thank you.
Don't sit down yet, because there are a couple other council members who want to talk. Mr. Andy Nakim?
Mr. Oye, would you mind stepping up, please, Mr. Michael Oye?
This is the lucky one.
That's fine. Mr. Moyer, they're both hot. It doesn't matter. We might need you, each of one. Mr. Oye, and you've worked with Mr. Belanger for quite a few years, and y'all have a very good working relationship. I feel confident in moving forward with this. My question to you is, though, as the head of the MPO, are your employees confident in moving forward with this? What do you feel their response is to what's going on?
Well, I think that it's been very positive. They see opportunities, not only just with the MPO, but with other operations within the Acadiana Planning Commission. I won't speak for each of them, but my impression is they're all very positive to go forward with this.
So there's a positive aspect to what y'all are planning as far as your employees are concerned. They feel confident in moving forward with this.
That's correct.
Yeah, and the working relationship, of course, Mr. Belanger knows these people. We've been with them for quite a while and seeing their work. So I feel confident that their professionalism will be retained in that department. I don't see any problem with that. And I wanted to address that concern by Mr. Shelvin as far as retention of the employees. Y'all all know each other. It's not like y'all don't, and it's not like you're coming in brand new, not knowing management. So you know what you have there in place. You've seen the progress and the positives that we have here already in place. So don't fix it if it ain't broke. I think it's going to work well that way.
Yeah.
And Mr. Oye, that's basically what I had, because I wanted to ask you how your employees felt about this. I felt the positive nature of it, and I felt your employees were feeding back positive to me also in regards to this. I just want to get your impression. I didn't want to give out the wrong ideas in regards to this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Belanger, thank you.
They got about 65 years between the two of them right there.
I was going to make that point.
A little bit more.
A little bit more?
I was certainly going to make that point, and that is there are a few people that are associated with this government or a part of this government that has the institutional knowledge that this man has. And we would be remiss if we didn't talk to Mike about how appreciative we are and his connectivity with the neighborhoods. He has a real passion for engaging people and engaging the neighborhoods, and I'm hopeful that in this new launch that Mike sees on his list being able to scratch off some of those things that we have dreamed about getting done and releasing the prize, being able to release that grant money to do things that up to this point have only been a plan. And Mike, on behalf of, certainly on personally for me, you have been a true friend of this government and a steward of the MPO, and we want to thank you for that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mr. Terrio?
Mr. Oye, Carly, this will be applied to both of you guys. I guess the obvious public question would be, in your opinion, is there any reason why we should not do this?
She's going to let me go first. I honestly believe you're going to get a much better product and service delivery through this combination between Kevin Belanger and myself. I think not only for Lafayette Consolidated Government, and I'm a citizen of Lafayette Consolidated Government, but for the whole region. I truly believe that there'll be a lot more opportunities, a lot more resources that will be able to be leveraged and harnessed to the benefit of all. And I'm not just being generalistic about that. I'm very specific.
Well, you've been involved with it a lot longer than we have. So what about any potential ramifications, Mr. Oye? Do you see anything that may be a detriment from doing this? Are there anything? I mean, naturally, we understand there's a lot more positives than negatives, but what negatives, if any, may we experience by doing this?
Well, I think Mr. Belanger made reference to the federal government, Congress, is debating currently at this time a new Transportation Act. The country is in a desperate need for a new Transportation Act. It's been quite some time since we've had a 6-year program. But I think both Democrat and Republicans in the Congress are agreeing to that transportation needs refunding. We've neglected it for quite some time. And I would, if I had to project, I would speculate that sometime within the next 12 months, maybe a year and a half, you're going to see a new initiative coming out of Congress for transportation improvements, and I think there'll be an opportunity there if our plans are in place and we're ready to go with a ranked order of improvements to take advantage of that.
Ms. Oye, I don't know if it's you, but just for the public that's listening, either you or Mr. Belanger, could you go ahead and rattle off the 8 parishes that would be represented under the APC?
Well, actually, Evangeline Parish, Acadia, St. Landry, St. Martin, Iberia, Vermilion, and St. Mary.
And Lafayette.
Well, Lafayette, yes.
There we go.
Hey, if we already being put last, I mean, look,
you were actually in the center.
Look, I mean, if we being left out already,
Getting about the most important one.
Look, I was almost there, gentlemen.
I was trying to think of the others.
You got a tough audience.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think we're pretty good on that. Mr. Oye, thank you again. Mr. Belanger, Carly, thank you all. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I think Mr. Abe and Mr. Stanley was just responding to other questions. Y'all could clear your boards, please.
I actually have a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You want in, huh?
Lawyer wants to talk, imagine. I actually have to correct part of my answer to Mr. Sheldon's question a minute ago. After reviewing the agreement, I had told him that the agreement had no term and that there was no mechanism for withdrawing from the agreement after. Part of that's correct, part of it's incorrect. There is no term, but the intergovernmental agreement does provide in paragraph 12, any party to this agreement may withdraw or terminate its participation within a 12-month written notice to the MPO Transportation Policy Committee. So just wanted to make that point because I had said to the contrary just a moment ago.
Thanks for putting that clause.
Not my doing, but.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Hebert, for that clarity. There seems to be no additional council discussion at this time. Are there any blue cards on this matter? I'm sorry, ma'am?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Well, let's call the vote. And just as a reminder, the motion was made by Mr. Bertrand and seconded by Mr. Patan.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4? Motion to adopt is approved.
Thank you, Kevin. And by request of the Chief Development Officer, the fact that this item has in fact passed final adoption, item number 12 will be deferred. Item number 12 is being deferred. So we'll now move to item number 13, please.
Ordinance 126, 2015, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council authorizing the filing of an application with the Louisiana Commission on Law Enforcement for a 2014 Stop Violence Against Women grant for the Lafayette Police Department.
Motion by Mr. Andy Nakane, second by Mr. Terrio. Any council discussion on this matter? Seeing none, on any blue cards? Please call the vote.
District 8?
District 8? Mr. Patan?
Yes.
Thank you.
9?
Yes.
District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
Motion to adopt is approved. Ordinance 127, 2015, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the fiscal year 14-15 operating budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by authorizing the use of prior year fund balance in the city sales tax capital improvement fund in the amount of $112,680 and use of unexpended, unencumbered salaries in the city general fund in the amount of $62,933 and adjusting the manning tables by adding 3 additional police officers and associated costs within the Lafayette Police Department Patrol Division.
Motion by Mr. Bertrand, second by Mr. Kevin Nakkan. Is Chief available, please? Chief, as you approach, just for those who are watching and listening, this is a direct result of having actually no vacancies at this time and the need to create space to hire people.
Correct. We have, we've been at 0 vacancies now for 2 months. We hired 3 employees temporarily or substitute appointments in our 3 military positions that are vacant at this time. But we want to hold on to those military positions in the event those employees return. So we need to add these 3.
Okay. Excellent. Any council discussion on this matter? Seeing none on any blue cards. Okay, please call the vote.
District 9?
Terrio.
Mr. Terrio?
District 9?
Yes. District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
Motion to adopt is approved. Ordinance 128, 2015, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the fiscal year 14-15 capital budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by increasing projected revenues in the amount of $721,290 anticipated to be received from the Federal Transit Administration Section 5307 Urbanized Area Formula Grant and appropriating these funds along with the required match in the amount of $180,323 within the Public Works Department Transit Division.
Motion by Mr. Andy Nakkan, second by Mr. Bertrand. Any council discussion? There is none. Any blue cards? Please call the vote.
District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7? District 8?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
Motion to adopt is approved.
Okay, we'll now move to announcements of vacancies on boards and commissions. Jeremy, would you please read those vacancies?
Due to term expirations, 4 vacancies exist on the Evangeline Thruway Redevelopment Team for 4-year terms. Due to term expiration, a vacancy exists on the Board of Zoning Adjustment, alternate number 2, for a 3-year term effective January 19, 2013. Individuals wishing to submit a resume for this volunteer position must be domiciled within the corporate limits of the City of Lafayette. Individuals must also be able to prove ownership of property within Lafayette Parish. Due to resignation, a vacancy exists on the Industrial Development Board for 1 year and 9 months, the remainder of an unexpired 6-year term. Individuals wishing to submit a resume for the above volunteer vacancies must be a registered voter and resident of Lafayette Parish. Act 472 of the 2008 Louisiana Legislative Session, now codified as LARS 42:1124.2.1, requires financial disclosure under certain circumstances. Resumes are to be forwarded to Veronica L. Williams, Clerk of the Council, P.O. Box 4017C, Lafayette, Louisiana 70502, or emailed to bclafayette@lafayettela.gov no later than noon, Tuesday, July 7th, with council appointment to be made July 21st, 2015.
Okay, now we're going to go to appointments by the council members and our city parish president and or any other direct appointing authority. Jeremy, please read item number 19 and 20.
Joey Durrell, City Parish President, appoints Cheryl Lorio to the Lafayette Advisory Commission on Crime Prevention for a 4-year term effective July 16, 2015. Joey Durrell, City Parish President, appoints Pat Trahan to the Downtown Development Authority for a 3-year term effective September 1st, 2015.
Thank you very much. Now we will go to introductory ordinances, and I will entertain a motion and a second to take those in global. Motion was made by Mr. Castile, and the first second was made by Mr. Andy Nakkan. Jeremy, please read them.
Ordinance 130, 2015, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the fiscal year 14-15 operating budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by transferring $76,000 from RPL phone system within the Lafayette Fire Department and appropriating to RPL radios accessories 16 for funding needed. Ordinance 131, 2015, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council enacting section 94-57 of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government Code of Ordinances, providing for the authority of the Director of Utilities to execute betterment agreements for the provision of and connection to water, sewer, electric, and telecommunications facilities owned or operated by the Utilities Department, and providing for the authority of the Director of Utilities to establish capital recovery fees. Ordinance 132, 2015, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council authorizing and directing the Lafayette City Parish President to execute the capacity confirmation between NRG Power Marketing LLC and Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government. Ordinance 133, 2015, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council declaring the construction of the Kali Saloom Road Lift Station and Force Main Installation Project a public necessity and authorizing the acquisition of the necessary land, servitudes, easements, rights-of-way, and other property rights requisite to the construction of said project, either on an amicable basis or through the use of the expropriation process if necessary. Ordinance 134, 2015, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the fiscal year 14-15 operating budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by authorizing the increase of revenues in the amount of $195,803 received from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development through the Louisiana Housing Corporation for the Emergency Solutions Grants Program, and appropriating within the Community Development Department, Federal Programs Division, and also decreasing the use of City General Fund prior year fund balance by $5,703, recognizing the administrative fees to be received from this grant. Ordinance 135, 2015, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the fiscal year 14-15 operating budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by transferring $4,500 from the Nature Station Elevated Boardwalk Project to the Parking Lot Improvements Project within the Community Development Department to improve parking and handicap accessibility to the Nature Station facility. Ordinance 136, 2015, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the fiscal year 14-15 operating budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by increasing the use of CIP fund balance by $250,000 and appropriating within the Community Development Department, Arts and Culture Division, Lafayette Science Museum for demolition of the old planetarium building. Ordinance 137, 2015, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the fiscal year 14-15 operating budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government to provide for adjustments to the manning tables and expense line items within the Community Development Department, Arts and Culture Division, Hyman Performing Arts and Convention Center. Ordinance 138, 2015, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council providing for the abandonment of a portion of the utility niche and the access and drainage easements on lots 131 and 132 of Phase 3A of Old Town at Mill Creek, having municipal addresses of 119 Bungalow Court and 117 Bungalow Court, respectively. Ordinance 139, 2015, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council declaring the building or structure located at 118 12th Street, Lafayette, Louisiana, owned by Louis Dixon and Erlene Taylor, care of Gerald J. Block, attorney appointed, to be dilapidated and dangerous to the public welfare, and ordering the condemnation of same.
Thank you very much. Any council discussion on any of these items? There is none. Any blue cards for any of these items? Okay, please call the vote.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
4?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9? District 1?
Yes.
Motion to introduce in globo is approved.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned. We'll now call to order a special meeting of the Lafayette Consolidated Government Council to take up a resolution. Jeremy, could you please read that resolution?
Resolution 23, 2015, a resolution of the Lafayette City Parish Council urging the governor of the state of Louisiana to veto House Bill 577 of the 2015 regular session of the Louisiana Legislature due to its harmful changes to the law of Louisiana regarding municipal annexations.
Motion by Mr. Bertrand. Second. Second by Mr. Nakam.
And Mr.
Castillo.
Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
just to let you know, in your gold folders, each of you have the agenda item and an agenda.
Mr. Castillo?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hebert, we had some discussion earlier on this topic. Explain to me exactly why we asking the governor to veto this.
Sure. And in order to do that, I think it requires a little background as to what this bill amends. There's been an existing law for many years that allows a municipality to annex property that's owned by a governmental agency. I think the original purpose of that law, which was on the books for many, many years, was for a municipality to annex property that was owned by a different governmental agency. For example, we would seek to annex property that's owned by the state of Louisiana. That happens all the time. Unfortunately, the way the law is written, it could be argued that it also permits a municipality to annex its own property. So what has occurred in various situations, including to the city of Lafayette, is that an adjoining municipality would actually buy property simply for the purpose of going ahead and annexing that property. I don't think that was originally an intended purpose of that law, but it has been done, and you know, that's a practice that's out there. But under existing law, there was a check on that attempt to annex property, and that courts have held pretty uniformly that just about anyone has standing to challenge that kind of an annexation. So just about anyone would have the ability to go to court and contend that that annexation was not valid. What House Bill 577 did was sort of turn that on its head and says essentially no one has standing now to challenge that kind of an annexation except for the government agency whose property is being annexed. So you can see how that would not be a logical rule when a municipality buys property and then goes ahead and annexes it, because the only person who would seek to be able to challenge that would be the municipality who annexed it. So what occurred in the legislature was, we didn't know about this bill initially. We found out about this bill just kind of from our routine checking of things that are going on in the legislature. And when we found it, we were concerned about it because it was harmful to the city of Lafayette, because the city of Lafayette had directly experienced that kind of situation itself. We proposed an amendment to the bill which would expand who had standing to sue and would allow municipalities within a mile of that kind of annexation to be able to challenge it. That amendment was immediately accepted by the original author of the bill. It was immediately accepted by the Louisiana Municipal Association. It went through the House Municipal Committee very quickly, went through the House of Representatives very quickly, and when it got to the Senate removed that amendment from the bill. So it returned the bill to the state that caused us concern in the first place, which basically it now does not allow municipalities who were in the shoes that we have been in to be able to challenge that kind of an annexation. So, and I think that's laid out in more detail in the whereas clauses of the resolution. But among the concerns are that you know, this kind of a situation prompts the possibility of annexation wars, you know, where municipalities are buying land in remote areas just to annex it, and then there's this patchwork of spots of incorporated municipalities where you go in and out of the corporate limits of different municipalities, and no one knows who has police jurisdiction, who has fire jurisdiction, whose services are supposed to be deployed in those particular areas. So it's for all of those reasons that the resolution was drafted to encourage the governor to veto the bill. And I think President Durrell has some other comments about that same thing.
Yeah, I see him chomping at the bit. I'm going to ask him a question in a second. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
The purpose and the reason, the motivation for a municipality buying a little tiny piece of land somewhere in order to annex it is because the word I was trying to get you to use was contiguous. Traditional and pretty much, I guess by law, typically annexations, they want you to be contiguous to that property you're annexing. Well, what's happening, what we've seen in Lafayette Parish, and this is not a Lafayette Parish specific amendment, and don't forget, we weren't trying to change the law. We were trying to get the law to remain the same. But we've experienced where a municipality has gone into another was not contiguous, bought a small piece of land in order to annex that piece of land, which would then make them contiguous to much broader pieces of land. So it was a way to circumvent or to game the system. And so the piece of the purchasing of that little piece of land was because they could purchase something that they were not contiguous to. And we happen to have two cities, Lafayette's not involved, but two cities in Lafayette Parish right now that are suing about this very issue. And this would eliminate that ability for a city to say, wait a second, you would have an island of one municipality inside our municipality, and you can see what that would do to emergency services, fire, police, ambulances, or whatever else, where they've got to travel through one city to get to the other city. And so it's, I just want to make sure that the word contiguous is what is typical done, and that's typically done because that's how they want municipalities to grow. They want it to grow so you can add the utilities, add the services that are needed, and not be jumping all over out in the parish, unable to provide those services. And this is just a way to game the system.
Yep, that's exactly right. And I would just add to that the way that the law is now under House Bill 577, not only would you not have to be contiguous, I mean, if you take it to its illogical conclusion, a municipality could hopscotch another municipality and go buy a piece of land on the other side of another municipality and then go annex it, and there's no legal ability for anybody to challenge that, because the only person who would have the ability to challenge that would be the same municipality who just did it. So, that's the reason why, it seems important that we urge the governor to veto the bill.
It went to the Senate side, you said, and it was pulled. Who and why would they pull our local amendment?
My conversations about that were with Senator Cortez.
And
I believe it was Senator Cortez.
And the reason for pulling it?
I didn't fully understand the reason.
You know the reason?
It's beyond me. He had said because we didn't call him, but it wasn't his bill. You would think he would have gone to bat for Lafayette and didn't call us about why we were amending it. And again, we were not amending the law. We were simply trying to keep the law the same. And for some reason, he was in favor of changing the law. And again, it's mind-boggling to me. I can't. I will tell you this: he is fine with this resolution. He said, "Get the governor to veto it. That way, everybody's happy." So I don't know what that means, but everybody's happy, I guess.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Bertrand?
Just so that everyone's clear, anecdotally, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mike.
What's that word again?
Anecdotally. Under this law as it is today, I could go buy a piece of property if I was Lafayette, City of Lafayette, the municipality of Lafayette. I could go to, say, Milton and buy a piece of property. And then I could begin annexing property in Milton as part of the municipality of the City of Lafayette, whether or not we were contiguous.
Correct. And the check on that right now, before this new bill, is that you could be sued to contest that and say that's not a reasonable annexation, it's not contiguous, it makes no sense, et cetera, et cetera. The bill takes all of that away.
Well, in fact, the bill goes even farther. It says that it takes the check of the lawsuit out because only me, as a municipality of the city of Lafayette, could challenge that annexation in another municipality.
Precisely.
I would be the only one who could challenge it.
And why would you sue yourself
Why would
over
I
what
do
you
that?
just did?
Okay.
Right.
Good.
That makes perfect sense to me.
So I just think it's miserable legislation. Thank you. I'm ready to vote.
Mr. Terrio?
Let's go.
That's a good one, Brandon. Good one.
He's calling for a lifeline. Hold on.
Yeah, exactly.
One call.
One call. Who are you going to call?
From what I understand, this initially started from a representative in North Louisiana that put it on because there were some questions between two agreeing bodies, but a third party came in, which was some kind of utility system, and that's why this was brought before the state legislature. From what I'm being told, Mr. Aber, and this is just what I'm being told, and you can correct me, and I'm not the legal expert, I've been told by a few people that it does not do what the resolution says that it does. In our resolution, basically it says that it allows or encourages a municipality to purchase a remote non-contiguous property on the far side of a municipality for the sole purpose of annexing them. I'm being told that that is not the case and that the original law that went before the House and the Senate that passed does not do this. Now, once the information that was brought forth to the legislative body first, the representative side, was also supported by our local LMA, who we support, and all other municipalities. So I guess a question that I have is that if the LMA supported the House Bill 577 as it was in its condition without, I guess, Lafayette's amendment, would they support an amendment that would hurt Lafayette? Because we're part of the LMA.
They did not realize the impact that this had until it was brought to their attention. As soon as it was brought to their attention, they immediately agreed to the amendment, as did the mayor of the town who proposed it to LMA in the first place. In fact, at the committee hearing, the mayor, it was Sterlington, Louisiana, is the town in North Louisiana. Okay. The mayor of Sterlington, Representative Katrina Jackson, the author of the bill, and I sat together at the committee hearing and discussed, and all were in favor of the amendment to the bill, and LMA was in favor as well. I think it's just something that LMA didn't anticipate, and we weren't even aware of it until we caught it in the middle of the session. But again, as soon as that was brought to their attention, they had no problem whatsoever agreeing to the amendment that we proposed.
When did the Senate take this out, take the amendment
Last
out?
week.
Last week?
Right at the end of the session.
And when did we submit the amendment?
Oh, a month ago, probably, I would guess, roughly. I couldn't tell you the exact date, but I could find
when
it.
When y'all found out the problem with it?
Yes, sir.
Just
I actually
reviewing?
got in the car and drove to Baton Rouge with the amendment and we went to the committee hearing.
Okay. And in your legal opinion, you're saying that this does allow the remote purchase to the backdoor annexation, as you're saying in this resolution?
Yeah, I think the key to understand is that the practice that has been engaged in was already permitted, but there was an ability to stop the practice by challenging it in court. The ability to take that practice did not change one way or the other with this bill, but the ability to challenge it in court is completely gone. It's completely taken away. So the cross-check on someone buying a little piece of property smaller than this room, a mile from the corporate limits, and then annexing it after that, was that you might get sued over it. Well, now, with this bill, that's gone. That's gone, because the only person who could sue would be the person who just did it, the person who just annexed it. And obviously, that's not going to happen ever.
Okay, and we don't have anybody here tonight that represents the other side of what you're talking about. So there's nobody here from the LMA or nobody else from anybody that would, yeah, confirm or contradict, as Mr. Pontas says, I guess, what you're saying. Is there any reason why we couldn't defer this for a week and check it? I do know that there is a requirement that 30 days after the session is when the governor has to sign it, or that's the limit. Is that correct?
In some cases, it's less. I don't know this bill in particular. I don't know the deadline. But I think the reason for the special meeting was so that we'd make sure that if the council was inclined to pass this resolution, that it could be sent to the governor's office immediately so that he would be aware of it.
Right. Okay, that's all I have for now. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Durrell, could you clear your mic for me so it could clear the board? Thank you. William, you also, please. Okay. Mr. Bertrand.
I just want to reiterate to Mr. Terrio that the other side is not the LMA or any of those bodies that dealt with this to begin with, because they were in agreement with the amendment. And what got removed by Senator Cortez in the Senate after it had already passed the House was the amendment. So what was done was the original change in the statute that allowed this to happen, that was amended by the LMA and the mayor of Sterlington and those bodies, who you would call the other side, were in agreement with what we're saying. So what we're asking is that the governor take the action that was done by the Senate at the request of Mr. Cortez and veto that, so that we have a check on that type of annexation action. That's how I understand it. Am I incorrect? Thank you.
That's accurate.
You got one right.
Mr. Andy Nakam.
Mr. Hebert, so after the amendment was stripped in the Senate, it didn't go back to the House for another vote?
We went to a conference committee, and I don't know what happened in the conference committee, but it was, I think it was represented, it was represented in the conference committee as a purely local issue, so, the House wound up accepting what the Senate did. I don't know the particulars
passed the original bill after passing the amendment. They passed the original bill anyway. Okay. Are we the only municipality that you know of coming forth with a resolution to ask the veto?
As far as I know.
Okay. So we're leading the way in this.
I don't know what any other municipalities might be doing.
I would hope the mayor of Sterlington would come forward. Gentlemen, that's all I have. But I support to protect the Lafayette's rights or the parish's rights.
Thank you. Just to help clear up a couple of things, Mr. Naka, I think because of the lateness, the session rules say when you get to a certain date in the session, that things have to be taken up by committee. It did not have time to go back to the House for reconsideration, so that's how they formulated that. And as far as the LMA, I reached out to Senator Cortez out of a courtesy, and we did have some dialogue on this issue, and he actually sent me some correspondence, some of the correspondence, but the LMA was very much involved in the amendment. They were on board with it. As a matter of fact, they worked with Mike to do it, and it states here, thanking the mayor for his input on House Bill 577. The request of Mike Hebert, an amendment was added to the bill to address an issue arising within the Lafayette area. The LMA worked with Mike in this regard, but when the bill went to the Senate floor, that portion of the bill was removed by Senator Cortez. And it was that portion of the bill that held the potential to generate some conflict among municipalities under some circumstances, under very limited circumstances. So as far as where the LMA was on this, they participated, they helped craft the amendment, and as Mr. Bertrand said, the amendment was presented before it even left the House side. So it wasn't something that was added before the House considered it. It was considered with the amendment attached to it. That the mayor of Sterlington, that the original author, Ms. Jackson, was all okay with at that time. So just wanted to add some of that. Mr. Shelvin?
Call for the question.
Okay. No one else wanted to speak anyway. All right. But nonetheless, the question has been called. Do you want to keep that out there? Thank you very much. Okay. Any other council discussion? I got to still ask the question. Any blue cards on this matter?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Call for the vote on the resolution, please.
District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
Motion to adopt is approved.
Meeting adjourned. That's an ethical conflict.
No, it ain't. Don't be for it.
But in our sweetest daydreams, we'll trade our feet for wings, and we'll meet each other up in the clouds to fly on the treetops. Whoa,
Hey, check out our new website at aocinc.org.